Hello, everybody. It's me, the excellent reviewer. Y'all know me from doing these type of Game of Thrones little podcasts, and I was earlier. It had been said online that the Game of Thrones episode 6 had just been leaked. It was leaked online, and yeah, accidentally by HBO, and I just, as soon as I heard that it was uploaded, like, days before Sunday, I sort of had to watch it, and I just finished it up. So we're gonna talk about that. If you're listening to this and you would rather wait till Sunday, then don't listen to this podcast. Don't listen to this episode because we have quite a bit that happened in this episode, and there's a lot to cover. So, first of all, we get John and his whole crew. They're on that mission to capture the White Walker, and a lot of it. You would think a lot of it would be in the. I thought a majority of the episode was just them trying to get the White Walker. Uh, but it's a big part of the episode. Like, I thought it was going to be Battle of the Bastards. But we do get very different subplots right here. We have this exchange, this moment with Arya and Sansa, where Arya is talking about her first time shooting uh, bows and arrows, and how her father like watched her and congratulated her and everything like that. And I kept on thinking, I was like, why is she saying this? Because the character never just goes into a story without like a significant meaning. And she confronts Sansa. She's all like, "It's you helped the Lannisters kill Dad," and she's very cross about that. And she's just like, you helped kill Dad. And Sansa's like, "No, I was a girl. I was a young child. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just being told that this would help Father." And they're in a bit of a quarrel. And what is interesting about this season is just some of the interactions that the characters have with each other that you normally didn't see, like everything with Danny and John, and the Hound with John, and Jorah with John, like all these characters meeting up for the first time. It's very unique and great to see. And I thought I keep on thinking, like, let's see these characters develop and interact with each other, because it's really it's really awesome. Now, getting back to the episode, there is this moment where they're traveling, and they're past the wall. They see nothing but snow, and all of a sudden they see this one person running, and then out of nowhere it becomes a bear. A bear becomes is now like now animals can be part of White Walkers, can be a part of the White Walkers as long as they're dead. And the bear like destroys, like he wrecks damage. He wrecks damage, especially to one of the not rebels, but one of the prisoners. I don't know their names. I only saw them for one episode, for Christ's sake. So he badly injures the bear badly injures one of them he tries to save the Hound. He pushes the Hound out of the way, and then the bear like attacks him, and they not what I can't think of the phrase, but they seal the wound. Okay, they seal the wound with the fire swords that they have, which is pretty cool. Um, I think that's pretty cool. And after that, we have Sansa and Peter Baelish. They're talking about something. Like Peter knows. Like, Peter has planted this whole entire thing so that Arya and Sansa could be against one another, and he's trying to play it off like, oh, I don't know who could have done this. I don't know what's happening and stuff like that. Even though he's plotting against them, and that's I just it's a very weird thing. We don't know what Peter is planning or what he's planning to do. It's just very weird. And not too long after that, like literally like next frame is we cut back to the men because that's a huge chunk of the story. And they're up in the mountains and they see the dead, the army of the dead. They're just walking. They're walking. And then all of a sudden, is one of the leaders. One of the leaders is there, and he sees like a fire, and like it just been burned out, like stamped out and everything. It's a fire. What's going on? And here comes John and his men, and they come out to attack. And they have a little bit of a fight before John like attacks. He like kills the head one, and all of the others disintegrate. It's sort of like that thing in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where you kill the leader, everyone else of the army dies, at least for that little sector. And then there's one left. There's one left. Apparently, there's one left, and they're like, okay, this is our chance. They grapple him. They take him down to the ground. They try to silence him. They kick him down, but he makes a lot of noise. He makes a lot of noise. He has a very high pitched squeal sound. And next thing you know, here comes the army of the dead. Here comes the army of the dead, all of them. And Jon Snow tells Gendry, that's his name, I think, Gendry, that you got to go back to the wall and tell Dany what's happening because she's the only person that can save us. And so he starts running. He's like, go, because you're the fastest. And he starts running and running and running and running. That was a Forrest Gump reference, by the way, in case you didn't know. So there, John and his men continue to run. They like run out into this, like they hear cracking in the ice because they're in this huge ice thing, like ice field. And so he starts running and running, and they all like get to like this huge stone in the middle, like straight bang in the middle of the ice. And so they're like, that's where we're gonna go. And as they're going, it turns out that the ice has been fragile, and that it cracks, and then it goes all the way down, and there's a huge circle that has just been cut. So like if the White Walkers try to go through it, they're gonna fall down into the water and they're gonna drown, and they're in a bit of a stalemate for like at least a night and a few and lots of hours. Like no side can do anything. The John's men can't do anything. The White Walkers can't do anything. So Gendry finally gets back to the wall, and he's all like, I need a maester. I need to send this message out. Someone's got to know. And then I can't remember his name. The one that's always around with Jon Snow, with the weird face. Sir Davos. There we go. I for the life of me, I can't remember his name. Sir Davos is like, okay, we're gonna get we're gonna get a maester right away, and then we continue to see everything that's happening with the White Walkers, and it's just a stalemate. It's just a stalemate. And if you recall, the one that got attacked by the bear, who saved the Hound. He passes away at this part. He dies. He's just like he couldn't hold on anymore, and he just passed away and he died. And yeah, that was just like one of those moments that was just like, well, that sucks. And Jorah says something interesting, because all of a sudden he's all like, you know what you got to do, right? He's all like, you gotta go up there and fight the leader. And the guy who died 6 times and came back, I don't know his name. But they're with the minor characters, I don't know their name. And he's all like, you gotta go up there and you gotta kill him, because he's the one that's bringing everyone back to life. And they found out if you kill him, and you kill the person who brought them back from the dead, then everyone else is gonna die. So, so he's like, you gotta kill him. That's the only way that this war can end. And yeah, like so, it's just like he's and I remember this quote. He's like the guy who died 6 times is like, they brought us back. Did they just bring us back to freeze to death? I thought that was cool. I thought that was unique of a saying. And then we got all of a sudden we cut back to Winterfell, and Sansa receives a note, and she's all like, "Hey, it's from Cersei. Cersei wants us to go to King's Landing." But Brienne of Tarth is like, maybe you should go because I don't trust people here in Winterfell. But Sansa's all like, no, like Winterfell's my home. I trust people more than anything, and I'm gonna stay here. So she's gonna stay in Winterfell. And then now all of a sudden, here comes Dany. She's all like, she finally gets the word, and she's all like, okay, we're gonna go right now. And Tyrion's like, no, don't go, like, don't go. And he's all like, do nothing. Sometimes nothing is the hardest thing to do. And she's all like, I listened to you when you said to not do anything, and that's not going to happen. So she just flies off with all 3 of her dragons. And this was a funny moment. When the Hound, he was just bored, so he grabbed a rock and he threw it, and it hits one of the army of the dead, and it breaks his jaw off. Skeleton with his jaw off. I thought that was funny. And then he goes again. He throws a bigger rock, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't hit him, but it rolls like inches towards towards the dead man's feet, and that means that all of a sudden the ice that they could not pass has now frozen over, and now that they can go and fight, so they're a little bit screwed, and they're just like, okay, we're just gonna have to fight. So it's like Battle of the Bastards with that heavy anticipation, where you don't know what's gonna happen because they could very well much die because they're severely outnumbered, and they have a lot of those moments where you think one of the characters is gonna die, but then all of a sudden they're saved at the last second. Very, very, like, just and they even have some like the same cinematography style as Battle of the Bastards. And there's this moment where like Jon and everyone else is fighting, and then like they're surrounded, and Jon's like, okay, well, I'm gonna fight to the death. And all of a sudden, here comes Dany. She comes in and she starts blasting everyone away. She starts blasting everyone away. All the army of the dead. She starts blasting them with the fire and everything. And then they're loading everything up. They're loading the White Walkers that they need. They're loading everything up. And Jon is all like, wait, hold up a second. I gotta kill these 4 other guys that are coming, because or else we're not gonna get away. So he's killing them, and this White Walker, the leaders of the White Walkers, he all of a sudden he's handed a spear by one of the leaders, and the leader is all like, he's very slow and confident, and all of a sudden he throws the spear, and literally one of the saddest moments happens. And by the way, the special effects for the show is just off the hook, because one of the spear that the White Walker threw directly hit one of Dany's dragons, and it is brutal. It is brutal. There's so much blood, like all over the place. There's a lot of blood. Just throws it, and Dany's face is like of utter shock and horror, because that's her child. Those are her children, and one of her child has just died. She's just utterly sad. And then so Jon sees that the White Walker is getting another spear, and so he's all like, go, get out of here before he kills another one of your dragons. And so he's running, and all of a sudden, like, 2 White Walkers, 2 army people from the dead, they just drag him down to a hole in the ice, and it looks as though Jon is dead. And so they're like, okay, like Dany sees it, like, okay, I'm out of here. And then she flies, and then he throws it, but it just barely misses the dragon. And so all of a sudden, they're like, okay, we're done here. So they start to leave, and John comes out of the water because John is Superman. He's not gonna die. And he gets back up, but he did something very stupid. He got back up while not all the army of the dead was gone, and he's very injured and frozen, and he's stiff. And then all of a sudden, we I remember saying, I was like, John, you fool, because John might be he might have survived through a lot, but you can't beat the numbers game, and there's a lot of them. And all of a sudden, a figure appears, starts attacking the White Walkers, and he gets off of his horse, and it turns out it's Uncle Benjen Stark from all sorts of seasons ago. Benjen comes back, and he's all like, okay, you gotta go. You gotta ride. You gotta get out of here. And John's like, come with me. And he's like, there's not enough time. And so he leads the horse away from them, and then Benjen, he fights an honorable death, and then he dies. There totally could have been enough time for him to get on that horse and ride away with John. I'm just saying there was quite a bit enough of time for him to, you know, get on the horse as well. It's like that thing in Harry Potter in the it was the Chamber of Secrets, where Ron didn't have to be on that he did, he's like, I have to sacrifice myself, and he's on the horse, and then the horse gets speared and attacked. He didn't have to stay on. He could have jumped off at the last second. He didn't have to be there, but yet he was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna die. And so Dany is at the wall, and she's just watching her dragons, and she's very heartbroken, and she's just like watching them, and Jorah's like, okay, I think we should go. And then she's like, just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. And then all of a sudden, here comes Jon Snow back at the wall, and they're taking care of him. They're taking his clothes off, and Dany sees the stab wounds that he had when he died, and she's in utter shock. But we can't stay there for too long, because all of a sudden we're back at Winterfell, and Sansa is like, let me see what's going on with Arya. So she goes into her room, and she sees her faces, the faces, how she becomes how Sansa, no, my bad, Arya becomes like different people. And she finds the faces, and Arya is all like, it wasn't what you expected, was it? And so she's all like, what is this? And she's like, those are my faces. I can transform into different people if I, see their faces. And, it's very tense, because she's all like, I could figure out, I've always wondered what it was like to be, in pretty dresses. I could do that, and all I would need was your face. And she's holding a knife this whole entire time, but then she's like, oh, here you go. This is your knife. And she just leaves. It's very intimidating for Sansa, and it's very high stakes. Just the feel of that, the tension there is just really great, and I just loved it. I loved it. And then we go back. Jon is on a ship. I believe they're going to King's Landing now, and Dany is all like, Dany and him talk, and Jon's like, I'm so sorry. We shouldn't have gone for the White Walker. I'm so sorry. And Dany's like, I'm not sorry. Those were my children and stuff like that. And it's at this moment where Jon is all like, now he's like, you're my queen. He's like, I can't bend the knee physically because I'm very injured. But he's all like, yes, you are my queen, and I'm going to serve you. Finally, I would assume at this point where she saved him that this would happen. And I don't know if they're going to be if there's a love interest at all in there. I don't know. Maybe. We don't know. We're just going to have to wait to see until it plays out. And then just when you think it's over, we cut to a final scene of the Army of the Dead. And they have chains, and they're pulling something up. And then next thing you know, you see they're pulling the dead dragon up. They're pulling the dead dragon up, and the leader of the White Walkers brings the dragon over to their side. And it's just like, come on. Like, it's just like, come on. It's just, you kill the dragon and Danny's heartbroken. Now all of a sudden they just like, okay, here, we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back. And it's just like, come on, It's just like, it's going to be interesting when the huge battle happens between everyone and the White Walkers, how Danny is going to, what's going to happen if Danny, meets, because Danny's going to meet face to face with that dragon, her former, her former child. And it's just like, what is going to happen? Because now it serves the army of the dead, the White Walkers. I don't know what is going to happen. It's gonna be something to watch, though. And that, in a nutshell, was everything that happened in this episode. Like I said, a lot happened in this episode, and I was just amazed how much they had, because sometimes not very much happens, but this was a lot happened in this episode of Game of Thrones. Thank God it was spoiled. It was leaked. Yeah, just great episode. I think one of the best so far in terms of a lot of things, just happening. A lot of things happening, and really good and solid episode, that I will say. And I don't have anything else to talk about for this episode, so do me a favor, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below, if you've seen the episode, and if you haven't, sorry if I spoiled it, but I gave a spoiler alert in the beginning of this episode, so do me a favor, let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. And if you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys as soon as I can. I've been Samuel V, aka the Excellent Reviewer, aka Wrestling's #1 Hype Man, aka the real champion of YouTube, and I'll see you guys as soon as I can. Goodbye.